Excel Tutorial 6, pages 354 through 360. At the top of page 354, to open the regional workbooks and switch between them. Okay. What I want you to do, first of all, you should still have Columbia open. I want you to open the Better World workbook, okay, that you have that came with this chapter, and I want you to do a file save as and name it Better World 2016. Okay? In this Better World 2016 file, click on your Documentation tab, enter your name and the date, okay, and then just click back over to the summary worksheet. Now I want you to open your Marion and your Richmond workbooks, okay? Again, just some of the homework files that came along with this tutorial, so please go right now and open both Marion and Richmond. Okay, do you have that done? If you don't, just pause the video and open Marion and Richmond. Now, on your ribbon, click on the View tab. On the View tab, in your Windows group, hit this Switch Windows button. And what this does is it allows you to move between your workbooks easily, okay? So for right now, click on Marion. Here comes Marion. Click on your Summary tab so you can see everything's there. Back up again, same thing, View, Switch Windows. Let's go to Richmond. Click on your Summary tab. Okay? And now let's go back to Better World 2016. Okay, so it's just a way to switch between workbooks, okay, by going to your View tab, Windows group, Switch Windows. When you hit that Switch Windows button, you can see all of the Excel worksheets and workbooks that you have open, and you can switch between workbooks, okay? All right, let's go to arranging multiple workbooks. Go ahead and read that real quick on the bottom of 354. And when you have that done, let's pop up to the top of page 355. Okay, on the View tab in the Windows group, this time we're going to go to Arrange All. So View tab, Windows group, okay, and here's our Arrange All button. When you click it, it's going to open the Arrange Windows dialog box, and you have a choice between tiled, horizontal, vertical, and cascade. Okay, so we are going to select tiled right there. Make sure you have that radio button is selected. If it's not, go ahead and click on it, and then click OK. Now, as you can see, we have tiled all of our workbooks that we had sitting there. We had 4 of them. If you look in their title bars, we have Better World 2016, Marion, Columbia, and Richmond. Okay? Click in the Better World 2016 workbook right here. That makes that the active workbook. Okay? The ribbon appears in each window, taking up a lot of the workbook space. To see more of the worksheets, you will collapse the ribbon in each window to show only the ribbon tabs. Step number 5. In each window, click the Collapse Ribbon button on the lower right corner of the ribbon. Only the ribbon tabs are visible in each window after you do this. Okay, if the ribbon includes more tabs that can be displayed, the ribbon scroll button appears to the right of the last visible tab, which you can click to display the other tabs. Okay, so we're going to go to each window, and do you see this right here? When you touch it, it says collapse the ribbon. When you do that, what it does is it leaves just the tabs up here. Okay, that's all you have to do. So we're going to go to each one, and every window we're going to do that. Collapse the ribbon, collapse the ribbon, collapse the ribbon. Okay, gives us more screen real estate to work with, allows us to see more. Everything's still there, it's just hidden. Okay, that's all. All right, go ahead and read about creating formulas with external references on the bottom of page 355. Then when you've read that, flip over to 356, and we're going to go to create the formula with external references to add the total tons of paper collected. In the Better World 2016 workbook, okay, Better World 2016, make it active. Make sure your summary worksheet is active. Select cell B6, okay, B6 right here, and then type in =, to begin your formula. Step number 2. Click anywhere in the Columbia workbook to make the Columbia workbook active. Okay, so let's take a look. Where is Columbia? Right here. So it says click anywhere in the Columbia workbook to make it active. Okay, this is my active worksheet. Let's see, click cell B6. 6. There we go. The external reference to cell B6 in the summary worksheet of the Columbia workbook. Okay, do you see it right up here? It just kicked it in up here because that's where we were working. That's where our equal sign was, right? The reference created in a 3D reference is an absolute cell reference, which does not change when the formula is copied. The formula remains in the formula bar of both the Better World 2016 and Columbia workbooks until you make another workbook active. At that time, the formula will appear in the Better World 2016 workbook and the active worksheet. Type a plus sign. Okay? The Better World 2016 workbook becomes active and you can continue entering the formula. You need to create an external reference to the Richmond workbook. Okay, so we did that. Right up here, this is now active and we've got our plus sign right there. Move the top of page 357. Click anywhere in the Richmond workbook to make it active. Okay, so we need to go to Richmond, which is right here, and we are going to go to cell B6 again. Okay, so B6 now has a selection around it, right? Go ahead and hit your plus sign. The formula in the Better World 2016 workbook includes an external reference to the cell that contains the total tons of paper collected in Richmond during Q1. Click anywhere in the Marion workbook and then click cell B6. Okay, make sure it's selected. Now that's the last cell reference that we're going to use. So we're finished with our formula. So we're going to go ahead and press our enter key. The formula with 3 external references is entered in the summary worksheet in the Better World 2016 workbook. Go ahead and in our Better World 2016 and click back onto cell B6. Okay. Now, at the right edge of the formula bar, click the Expand Formula Bar button. It's right here because we can't actually see our entire formula. It is truncated. Hit that down pointing arrow so that we can just drop the whole box. Okay, depending on the size of your screen, on my screen the whole thing was shown. On yours it may not have been because I do have a really super large screen. So go ahead and just know that if you couldn't see it all, that's your expand and collapse your formula bar button. Okay? Alright. The formula results in cell B6 show that 3,651 tons of paper were collected during Q1 in the 3 recycling sites. Okay. 1,311 in Columbia, 895 in Marion, and 1,445 in Richmond. See figure 6-18 and ensure that your screen matches what's in the textbook. Okay, when you have that right, go ahead and turn the page to the top of page 358. In the Better World 2016 workbook, in the summary worksheet, select cell C6. Okay, Better World 2016, make sure I'm on C6. I'm on B6, try that again. C6. All right, type your equal sign to begin the formula. Click the Columbia workbook and then click cell C6. So I want to go to Columbia and I want C6. Make sure that you get that selection around that cell. Okay. The formula, and then we want a plus sign, right? The formula in the Better World 2016 workbook includes the external reference to cell C6 in the summary worksheet in the Columbia workbook. Step number 3. Okay, we want to go to Richmond and we want to get cell C6 in Richmond. So here's Richmond for me. Here's Q2. There's C6, so we are going to click on it and we are going to make sure that we get the selection around it and it says cell C6, right? Plus sign. Okay, I think you know where we're going through here. Now we're going to do it in the Marion workbook. Okay, so Marion, C6. And after Marion, you're finished, so you're going to press your Enter key. Okay? Click back on Better World 2016, cell C6. Okay, and it's going to, the value displayed is 3,756. If yours doesn't display 3,756, you need to take a look at the formula in step number 5, compare it to yours, and find your error and correct it. Okay? Next, you'll enter the external reference formulas in cell D6 and E6 to add the total number of tons collected in quarter 3 and quarter 4. Step number 6. Repeat the steps 1 through 4 to enter the formula from cell D6 in the summary worksheet. Okay, so now, ready? Here we go. So in cell D6, okay, do you remember what we did? First we start with an equal sign, right? Then we're going to go to Columbia, and we're going to go to cell D6, and we're going to select that, plus sign. Then they had us go to Richmond, okay, Richmond, cell D6, and then a plus sign, and then Marion, cell D6, and then our Enter key. Okay, the result is 2,764. Okay, if yours isn't 2,764, stop, read the formula that I have up here, compare it to yours, and fix the error. Okay, now we're going to go to cell E6, and we're going to do the same thing for our quarter 4 paper, right? So equals, and the first place they had us go was Columbia, right? Plus, then they had us go to Richmond, plus, then they had us go to Marion, and Enter. And the number is, the value returned is 3,648. Again, if you didn't get that, take a look at my formula up here, figure out what you did wrong, and try it again until you have it right. You know what? That was a lot of work. I think you should reach up and hit save right here in your Better World, just to make sure, right? All right. To edit the external reference formulas to use mixed references, maximize the Better World 2016 workbook. Okay, maximize it. Got it? All right. Click the Ribbon Display Options button. Okay, we want our Ribbon Display Options button, which is located in the title bar right there. Do you see it? Ribbon Display Options right up there on the far right hand side of your title bar. Go ahead and click it, and you have the options of auto hide ribbon, show tabs, and show tabs and commands. And we definitely want to show tabs and commands. Okay, and we just restored everything. All right, at the right edge of the formula bar, click the Collapse Formula Bar button. See how it's great big and fat? We're just going to go ahead and knock it back down to its regular size. At the top of page 359, in the summary worksheet, double-click cell B6. Okay, there's cell B6 right there, right? Double-click it, and that's going to put you into edit mode. Step 4, click in the first absolute reference in the formula, and then press your F4 key twice to change the absolute reference of B6 to the mixed reference of absolute B relative 6. Okay, so we are right here, and we're going to press our F4 key twice. So now we have absolute B relative 6. Okay, we're going to edit the other two absolute references to be the same type of mixed reference. So here's my other one, F4 2 times, and my last one, F4 2 times. You know I'm going to tell you to stop and always go back over it. I also do this myself just to be sure. So right there, absolute B relative 6, absolute B relative 6, absolute B relative 6. When you have it correct, press your Enter key. Please never forget to press that Enter key. You're going to go right back up on it, and we're going to make sure that it took the changes before we move on, because if you mess this up, it's a pretty huge error, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure it's absolutely correct, right? All right, step number 7. Edit the formulas in C6, D6, and E6 the exact same way. Okay, so we're going to go to C6, and we want to go to each absolute reference and F4 it twice to get this mixed reference, okay? So we have an absolute C relative 6 in each one. Always remember to press your enter key and make sure it's accepted. Okay, and we're going to go to each one. And we're going to stop talking, Kathy, so that you make sure you're doing it right too. Quick check. Always go back to them and make sure you didn't make a mistake. Get each one. Enter, pop right back up onto it and check it. Absolute E, relative 6, absolute E, relative 6, absolute E, and relative 6. Perfect. Okay, take your time, get this right now, because we're about to drag these formulas down. If you don't have it correct, it's going to mess up everything else. Okay, let's move on to copy and paste external reference formulas. Select the range B6 to E6, and then drag the fill handle to select the range B7 to E10. Beautiful. The formulas are copied to the range B7 to E10, and the formula results appear in the cells. The Autofill Options button appears in the lower right corner of the range, but you don't need to use it. Step 2, in cell B11, okay, we're going to go to B11, enter the sum function to add the range B6 to B10. Okay, on my Home tab, in my editing group, I'm going to auto sum. It says B6 to B10. I love you, Excel, for doing everything for me. Press your enter key. And now I love you, Excel, one more time for doing everything for me, because I'm just going to drag that across. Okay, now let's look at our check figures in the textbook. 11,401, 10,713, and 11,434. Make sure that your numbers matched. If they don't, go back. Okay, if these numbers over here are incorrect, the error came from here, you would fix it from here and then redrag across. Flip to page 360. Step number 4, in cell F6, we need a sum for B6 to E6. B6 to E6, always press that enter key. And now you're going to copy this formula down through F11. Beautiful. And now we're going to check in the book and make sure that our figures are correct. 10,626, 13,430, 2,043, 6,069, and a grand total of 45,987. Perfect. Step number 6. Format the range B6 to F11. There's B6, F, there's 11, with the comma style and no decimal places. Okay? This should all be sounding totally familiar to you. You should know how to do every bit of that. Comma style, no decimal places. Format the range B10 to F10, okay? B10 to F10 with a bottom border. And then deselect, reach up and hit save, and you're ready to go on to your next video.